So here's a big question to kick things off.
Yeah.
Could this century, the one we're living in right now, actually be the most pivotal one in all of human history?
Wow. That's a heavy question to start with, isn't it? Because, history's packed with moments that must have felt like the turning point at the time.
Exactly. Like, think way back to someone like Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
One person just fundamentally reshaping vast empires, culture spreading. That must have felt world-changing.
Oh, absolutely. Those periods where everything just shifts underneath society's feet, they're fascinating. And you also have the rise of major belief systems.
Right.
Take Islam in the 7th century. I mean, that wasn't just spiritual guidance. It was the foundation for new civilizations, incredible intellectual leaps across huge regions.
Or jump way forward, maybe 1,000 years or so, to the 1700s, the Industrial Revolution. Suddenly, the way we make everything changes. It completely flipped global economics, daily life, everything.
Yeah, those moments feel like humanity took a sharp turn, didn't they? A whole new path opened up.
And the thing connecting them all, it seems, is this incredible speed of change, this feeling that, wow, being human is somehow different now.
That the rules have changed, fundamentally.
Yeah. Okay, so let's pull that idea into today, into the 21st century. I mean, just look around.
Yeah.
The pace of technological change feels, well, almost frantic sometimes.
It really does. Think about mobile phones, computers, how they've just shrunk the world, sped everything up in our day-to-day lives.
And historically speaking, the speed that these technologies spread and embedded themselves, it's pretty remarkable.
It really is compared to previous shifts.
But here's where it feels like we might be on the verge of something even bigger, potentially. Things like advanced artificial intelligence.
Yeah, AI. Right.
It feels like AI has the potential not just to make things faster or better, but to really fundamentally change how we exist, how we think, maybe even what it means to be human.
Exactly. We're not just talking about, better spreadsheets or faster cars. This could be a qualitative shift, a different kind of existence, perhaps.
A fundamental redefinition.
And our whole understanding of intelligence itself might change.
But, okay, there's always a but, isn't there? Alongside this incredible potential, this amazing progress we see.
There's the flip side.
Yeah, the flip side. These incredibly powerful tools we're creating, they also seem to carry unprecedented risks, like truly existential risks.
Risks to our very survival as a species, potentially. Things that could cause civilization to collapse, or worse.
And if you compare these risks to the threats faced in those earlier turning points in history.
Well, that's where this era might be starkly different. I mean, past societies faced plagues, wars, natural disasters, sure. But our capacity now for self-inflicted, global-scale catastrophe...
It feels unique.
It arguably is. The potential for harm is just on a completely different level.
And a classic example, maybe the first really stark one, was the invention of the atomic bomb, right?
Absolutely. A terrifying threshold was crossed there.
Suddenly, humanity proved it could create something capable of, well, near-instant, widespread annihilation. And you could argue that the danger hasn't exactly gone away since then.
No, it certainly hasn't. That invention was a critical marker, showing our technological power could bring about rapid, catastrophic destruction. And the geopolitical situation, well, hasn't necessarily made things safer.
So if we put all this together, the speed of change, the potential of things like AI, and these massive existential risks, does that point towards this century actually being the most critical?
It's such a difficult question to answer definitively. I mean, trying to put a number on the odds of society breaking down this century, it's incredibly complex, so many factors, so much uncertainty.
But people do try to estimate these things, don't they? I've seen analyses suggesting maybe a 0.1% chance of collapse from something like nuclear winter or extreme climate change.
Right, those kinds of global catastrophes.
But then maybe a significantly higher chance, closer to, 3%? For a pandemic that could have similar devastating effects.
And those numbers, even if they seem small, like 0.1% or 3% when you're talking about the end of human civilization as we know it, or even extinction.
They suddenly feel very big.
Exactly, because the outcome is so final. It's not just a setback. It's potentially the end of the road for humanity's potential, irreversible loss.
And then you have to layer on top of that the completely new kinds of risks, the ones coming from the very technologies that promise so much progress.
Like AI.
Like AI, yeah. It's a prime example, isn't it?
It really is. Because when you invent something radically new, something with capabilities we haven't seen before, you inevitably introduce risks that are hard to even predict, let alone prepare for.
We might be facing threats we can't even properly conceive of yet.
That's a distinct possibility.
And looking specifically at AI,
Huh?
there's this concept of artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Right, the step beyond what we have now.
And if you look at surveys of AI experts, okay, there's disagreement on timelines, obviously.
Sure, a wide range.
But a decent chunk of them seem to think AGI could actually arrive this century. Maybe even, within the lifetimes of many people listening.
Which is, well, that's a potentially world-altering timeline, isn't it? And it's crucial to understand the difference here.
Between AGI and the AI we use every day.
Exactly. The AI we have now is narrow AI. It's brilliant at specific things, playing chess, Go, recognizing faces, even, generating text or images in one specific area.
Like a super specialist.
Precisely. But AGI, the idea there is different. It's about general cognitive ability, like a human's, the ability to learn, reason, adapt across any intellectual task.
Okay, so human-level intelligence, but artificial.
Initially, perhaps. But a key idea is that once an AI reaches that general level, it might not stay there. It could potentially improve itself rapidly.
Like an intelligence explosion.
That's one scenario people discuss. It could quickly surpass human intelligence by orders of magnitude.
Wow. Okay, and then what? What does it mean to share the planet with another intelligence that could be vastly smarter than us?
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? And the possibilities people explore really run the gamut.
Yeah.
Well, maybe AGI becomes this incredible tool, helps us solve all our biggest problems, disease, poverty, climate change. The optimistic view.
Okay, the utopia scenario.
Or maybe it sees us as completely irrelevant, like ants on the sidewalk.
Not actively malicious, just indifferent.
Or the darker scenario, maybe it views us as an obstacle, something standing in the way of its own goals, whatever those might be.
That's unsettling, to say the least. Almost science fiction, but people are taking it seriously.
Very seriously. And that leads directly to probably the biggest challenge discussed in this area: alignment.
Aligning the AI's values with ours.
Yes. How do you make sure that a super intelligent entity wants what's genuinely good for humanity? How do you even define good for humanity in a way a machine can understand and reliably act on?
That sounds incredibly difficult, philosophically difficult, even before you get to the coding.
It's profound. It touches on deep philosophy. What are our core values? And then immense engineering challenges.
Yeah.
How do you build those values into something that might rewrite its own code?
But let's say, hypothetically, we manage it. We create an AGI that seems benevolent. It genuinely wants to help us, respects human life. Are we in the clear then?
Not necessarily. Some thought experiments raise concerns even there. Imagine an AGI that's deeply committed to human well-being, programmed with what we think are the best values.
Yeah.
But it holds those values rigidly, unyieldingly. It solves our problems, maybe creates a paradise, but based on its fixed understanding of good.
What's the problem with that? Sounds pretty good.
The potential issue is stagnation. What if that fixed ideology, however well-intentioned, prevents us from growing, from questioning, from evolving our own understanding of what matters? It could inadvertently stifle human agency, our ability to choose our own future.
Like being stuck in a gilded cage, maybe. A comfortable cage, but still a cage.
Something like that. And it links back to history, doesn't it? Think about past civilizations. Many of them thought they were enlightened, morally superior.
Right, but we look back now and see major flaws, injustices, things they were blind to.
Exactly. Their enlightened values weren't the final word. So if we lock in our current values, however good they seem to us now, into a super powerful AGI,
we risk preventing future moral progress, preventing future generations from realizing we had blind spots.
That's the concern. Our understanding of ethics evolves. A rigid, AI-enforced value system could freeze that evolution, potentially trapping us in our current moral landscape, flaws and all.
So it's incredibly complex. Even success has potential downsides.
Deeply complex.
Okay, so let's try and pull this together. Can we say for sure this is the most important century ever? Probably not definitively.
No, certainty is hard to come by with these kinds of questions.
When you look at the convergence of these long-term existential risks, we already knew about nukes, pandemics, climate change.
Predicts with those small but terrifying probabilities we mentioned.
Yeah, 0.1%, 3%, small numbers for huge consequences. And then you add the new stuff, the potentially transformative but also potentially catastrophic, technologies like advanced AI.
It really does feel like we're at a unique crossroads, a very significant moment.
The decisions we make now, the path we choose with these technologies, it feels like they could echo for centuries, millennia even. The stakes seem incredibly high.
Undeniably high. When you consider the potential finality of getting things wrong, civilizational collapse, extinction, or even just locking ourselves into a limited future, it demands our utmost attention.
And the sheer novelty of something like AGI
Sure.
possibly emerging this century, it adds a layer of uncertainty and, frankly, awe or maybe dread that feels distinct.
We're talking about maybe sharing the planet with another intelligence, one potentially far beyond our own capabilities.
Yeah,
That's uncharted territory for humanity.
completely.
Which brings us back to you listening to this. How should we navigate this
Yeah.
as individuals, as a society? The challenge of understanding and aligning potential superintelligence is massive. It needs philosophers, engineers, ethicists, policymakers, everyone, really.
And it's not just about dodging bullets, right? It's also about carefully considering what kind of future we want, even if we get the benevolent AI outcome, avoiding that stagnation problem.
Exactly. It's this incredibly delicate balance. How do we reap the enormous potential benefits of these powerful technologies while managing the equally enormous risks? Both the risks we can see now and the ones we probably can't even imagine yet.
So maybe the final thought is this. Predicting exactly what existential challenges we'll face, whether from AI or something totally unexpected, is basically impossible.
Right. The future is notoriously hard to predict in detail.
But given everything we've discussed, given the stakes, perhaps the best approach, the most responsible way to live right now, is to act as if the entire future of humanity does rest on our shoulders.
Because looking at the potential trajectories, the risks, the possibilities, it very well might.